How you doing? I'm Jim Hamilton. I'm at the Pig and Whistle. I'm at the famous Pig and Whistle. Look, I've come, I've got my rucksack on. I'm a well-known man around the world as one of the best rugby players to have ever played the game. No, I'm not. It's a lie. But we've got Paul O'Connell's montage on the wall. I've heard a lot about this place, and I'm here. Make sure, though, that you come here, but you also tune in to Rugby Wrap-Up.
This is the Rugby Odds, where an unlikely pundit panel of a wordsmith, a WWE legend, a rugby star, and a supermodel scour the globe, seeking best bets and bad behavior. Are you not entertained? Thank you. Much appreciated. We had a decent week, so we'll take the applause again. Well, we take them when we can, folks. That's what we do here. But let's get to the show. We've got a great show, including my constituents, my colleagues, John Bradshaw, Layfield, the WWE Hall of Famer turned rugby advocate, King Egbelu, the inventor of words, Mike Friday, the world-class sevens coach, George Hook, the Irish rugby legend, and they're all here talking about what's on that panel, that slate. With that, gentlemen, 30 and 22, but before we continue, I have to mute your mics and read from a prepared statement. Gentlemen, on this program, I have been steadfast in saying over and over again how I felt about the Irish national team, Leinster, and the other Irish teams in the URC. I have stood on my soapbox here. I have stood on my soapbox in pubs, on flights, in old age homes, and on street corners, and about the three things that are definite in life: death, taxes, and if Ireland or Leinster were ever in a big match, they were going to choke. And once again, they did. No surprises, buddy boy. I'm 100% accurate once again. With that, I'm going to turn your mics on so that we can all move past this and wish King Egbelu a happy birthday. Hail to the King.
Happy birthday, King.
Happy birthday, Gift.
Oh, man, thank you so much. But we're not about to try and use my birthday as a front for the live.
Happy birthday. All hail King Egbelu. Happy birthday, King. Let's go on to observation.
Nope. Let's go back to Ireland being replaced by Georgia in the Six Nations.
We've moved beyond that. We've had the statement. I'm not here to...
They're not even having to wait till the championship game to choke now. They're choking in the semifinals.
Observations. John, observation from
Observation. How about Ireland choking again? That's an observation. Like, look at this. Oh, they got a 2-inch putt. There's no way they missed that. Oh, they missed it.
Gift, how about you? Aside from the birthday wishes and the adoration from your kingdom, what did you notice in rugby?
It goes back to Ireland. How do you let Northampton have a record
We've already moved past this.
Freeman, record day to be able to allow Ireland, and then, shout out to Canada women and the big plays. But Northampton really just absolutely slaughtered. I just ran all day. That was actually the first thing that ChatGPT actually told me. I didn't have to even look it up. It was so big deal that AI was like, hey, Gift, man, you need to go check out this Freeman guy.
How proud are you, Mike? How proud are you of your Englishman?
They did a job, didn't they? Proper job. I mean, I don't want to say we called it, but I think we called it.
Bam!
The Northampton pack were phenomenal. Like, their defensive intensity was huge. And then obviously we're talking about Tommy Freeman. Woo! He was red hot. Yeah, different level. And then on the Sunday, the other one, Bordeaux. I mean, they were under the pump from a pack perspective, but they kicked the out of the Toulouse pack as well. And, two phenomenal semi-finals.
Thanks to legendary coach Mike Friday, I made 2 bets, and I won both of them. There is no way that man doesn't end up on 2 cents rugby. He's that good.
You did pick Leinster to cover the 21.5 on camera.
I don't care. Nobody watches this show. I listened to Mike, and I made my bet opposite of what I said.
Yes, and to be fair, all of us got credit for a win when Utah changed their lineup and brought in a B team.
The scheduler for Major League Rugby is a special kind of stupid. There's stupid, and there's like the scheduler for Major League Rugby. You schedule Utah 3 games within 8 days.
Yeah.
And you put them up at the same time against another team. You have 4 games on the weekend. 2 games went at the same time, and the other 2 games overlapped. The scheduler for Major League Rugby is a special kind of stupid.
He probably knows some people from World Rugby.
Yes.
It might be the same person.
It's in the seven space. I don't know. Maybe it's the same people.
And the Wednesday night match that Utah had to play was against arch rival San Diego in a bloodfest.
Yeah, and only about 6 hours away by commercial flight.
Right. It doesn't help Vegas at all when you're having all these matches and you don't know what the
Vegas, the lines for Major League Rugby didn't even come out on some books at all. And the ones that were coming out were day of. I mean, nobody cares anymore about Major League Rugby. You know, they can always go to the sevens in World Rugby of what we found out.
Mike, before we go on to our recurring segment, Player of the Week, give us the skinny briefly on the LA Sevens, the aftermath, and what it means to USA Sevens and global rugby in sevens.
I mean, the long and short of it is they've changed the goalpost mid-season. Now we're evolving the game. And we're expanding the game by reducing it from 12 teams to 8 teams. Let's just say USA went to LA to try and qualify to go on to the World Series again, or if that's what they thought when they signed up at the start of the season. They actually went to be relegated, but hopefully qualify for Sevens too, which they successfully did. It's an absolute show. The Sevens leadership is just all over the shop. World Rugby need to realise they're a federation, a governing body. They're not an events business. And that's the issue. And the only people that are paying the price right now, they're tier 2 and tier 3 nations. No Kenya next year on the World Series.
Isn't this just opposite of growing the game?
Absolutely, but it's also protecting the established tier 1 nations. But in the game of sevens where it doesn't need to, that's where the one opportunity for tier 2 nations, tier 3 nations to actually do over the big guns. But the problem is the tier 1 nations either need to put more money in it, or they have to divert other money to it, or they have to just swim with the tide, and they're not. They're trying to keep the competition down, maintain their position, because obviously the Olympics and World Rugby are doing deals. Bottom line, World Rugby Sevens leadership, absolute disgrace.
I'm sure everybody's enamored with you over there in the executive office right now.
I'm probably one of their most favorite people right now.
You're on the wall with a pin with the strings around it. And that segues nicely to our first recurring segment, Player of the Week. And the candidates are Finn Smith, Northampton's number 10. Quoting Mike Friday, he literally ran the show, had big hits on defense as well, and line breaks to go with his kicking variations, which were superb. Louis Villary, Bordeaux's number 11, the be-capped winger, was his usual electric self, but this time he was against one of the world's best teams, Toulouse. He dotted it down for 2 tries. Last but not least, Tommy Freeman, the Saints number 10, again, quoting Mike Friday, he was absolute fire. His first half hat trick was astounding, and I want to date him. Mike, who's your Player of the Week?
Tommy Freeman. That end.
What, just 3 tries in the first half against Ireland plus 2 All-Stars?
You know, he was different level.
How did that happen defensively? How does it happen?
Because Ireland sucks.
Their ability to split the field and create 6-on-4s, which is what they were doing, and Finn Smith, the way they were playing at the line, holding the blitz, all that technical stuff that means nothing. They were beautiful. Bottom line, that's how they did it.
Can Leinster get Finn Smith as their number 10?
I mean, tough on that Sam Prendergast, right? He's such a young man, and he's an unbelievable talent, but right now he can't tackle a big dinner.
He can't tackle a big dinner.
Literally, man.
I love it. That's great.
John, who's your Player of the Week?
Who do you think I'm going to go with? Are you kidding me? Give me Tommy Freeman.
Gift.
This is what AI told me on Saturday, all right? Just want to let it be known, all right? We are AI forward. Demonstrating exceptional finishing skills, exploiting defensive gaps, and showcasing his pace and agility on the wing. His tries were pivotal. And so, yeah, Tommy Freeman. We're like, what are we doing?
All right, well.
My computer was dormant, and it just said, that Tommy Freeman's a bad motherfucker. That's what my computer said.
All right, I could make this anonymous, but I'm not. I'm going with the guy
that's
anonymous.
You just said you couldn't make it anonymous?
I could, but I'm not. And I said I'm not.
Anonymous?
Unanimous, anonymous. It's all us's. It doesn't matter. Louis Villary. I'm picking him because he's going to be hoisting the trophy. He's going to be hoisting that cup after they smoke the Saints. That's my prediction. How you doing? Let's move on to Gift's favorite segment. Grown-ass man. The And it's hard. Charles Elton, the number 7 of Seattle. The Seawolves open side flankers, 27 tackles, were the centerpiece of the Seattle Sea Wall that helped the home team escape with a tie. Joel Hodgson, Utah's number 10, bruised and battered over 3 matches in 8 days. Looked really beaten up on Wednesday in the win over San Diego, but was all over the field in D.C., steering a second-side Warriors team that gave D.C. some squeaky bum moments in the second half in Maryland. Finally, Northampton's entire pack. They didn't beat Ireland. They beat Ireland with 2 international stars. Mike, who's your grown-ass man?
Well, only one of them won, didn't they? So,
That is an excellent point.
I
Excellent.
think the long and the short of it is that Northampton pack, they didn't just beat them, they beat them up. The Northampton pack were giving away weight. They were amazing. Their defensive intensity, their attacking brutality. Yeah, Northampton pack, boom.
Bam.
Bam.
Gift.
Yeah, look, man, Northampton last year said, I'm coming in, I'm taking my Premiership championship. Boom, take it in one. They said, hey, we're not done. You underestimated us at the beginning of the year. We were just resting for 6 Nations, came back through again and just took it away from Ireland. And yes, they're going to their first Champions Cup in how many years?
Your hypocrisy knows no bounds. You have been bashing the Saints every opportunity.
Only in the Premiership.
Oh, exactly.
That's right, because it takes the English to beat the English because the Irish can't beat the English.
That's a fair point. John.
We don't pick losers on this show, pal. I'm going with Northampton for rolling over Ireland.
So it's unanimous. That's anonymous meets unanimous. The Northampton Saints pack
is this week's grown-ass man.
And we'll be right back with Mr. George Hook and then bring these 3 back after George with their picks and more. Don't go away.
If you're in New York City and want to watch some great rugby, have some great food, and some great times, go to the world's best rugby pub, the Pig and Whistle on West 36th Street.
And now for the Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network. At Starfire Stadium in Seattle with 2 LA players in the sin bin, the Seawolves used a team effort to get the ball in the hands of electric former USA Rugby 7 star Malachi Esdale, who shrugged off multiple LA defenders for a crucial, eye-opening try in a critical Western Conference match. And that is your Major League Rugby Play of the Week, brought to you by the Rugby Network.
I wouldn't like to be at the bottom of that.
Star is born. A star is born from the best of business.
And we're back, and we're once again welcoming in Mr. George Hook, calling us from Dublin. George, welcome back. How are you?
Yes, well, as I approach another large birthday, I may not be able to do this much longer because I may not be able to remember what your name is, Mr. McCarthy.
Well, I barely remember it myself, so we're in the same boat, which is good.
Okay, let's go.
All right, let's go. Let's go to our recurring segment.
Headlines with Hook.
Our first headline, Dublin Has Fallen. Run with it, George.
Yeah, well, first of all, you got to remember I'm from Cork, so my allegiance is to Munster. So there wouldn't have been tears flowing in Cork or Limerick at the game. Surprisingly, I was actually at it. I was there, okay?
Wow.
There were 10,000 empty seats for a semi-final. Why? Because the European whiz kids, in their wisdom, charged too much for the tickets. Now, coincidentally, an inferior game a couple of weeks ago, played in a different ground, Croke Park, produced a full house at over 70,000 people because their tickets were priced correctly. May seem a fairly small point, but nevertheless, you know, Europe has got to understand about this game. So that's the first point. It was disappointing to see 10,000 empty seats.
Yeah.
I did tell you last week that the spread was excessive, and I didn't think Leinster were going to make that. I didn't think they would lose now. The best team won. That's the most important thing, right? The second thing is the much vaunted Leinster defence with Niimba, South Africa, blah, 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 leaked 5 tries, having leaked no points in the previous 2 matches. Now, if you leak 5 tries, you don't deserve to win, and they didn't. Next, the trick of coaching is to pick the right team, okay? And they did that incredibly badly. The best centre in the whole of Europe in the shape of Jordy Barrett, and have him on the bench for the first 15 minutes defied belief. Secondly, I mean, it's great, but like to put Healy on a prop forward at the opening thing, aged 127,
I didn't understand that.
Nonsense. And to leave Conan off, and that's the third one, but less important, was also surprising. This theory that the coach has, well, I'm holding him back so that we're going to have a very strong second half. It doesn't bloody well matter what kind of second half you have if you've lost the first half.
Yeah.
So it was lost, in my view, in the selection of the team. Also, the fly half isn't good enough. He was never good enough. He wasn't good enough for Ireland, and he wasn't good enough for Leinster.
But can he be? Can he be? Is he still young enough that he can be?
If you develop at a level where you're comfortable and you learn and you improve and you get confidence, instead of which they drop him in to the toughest division in the world, and he may never recover from that. His confidence may be damaged. Prendergast we're talking about, by the way, for the uninitiated. His confidence could be damaged. I never thought he should have been selected. He was far too young. This was, I'm sorry, but he decided to produce his worst performance when it was most needed to have a good one. Finally, like, if you add all these things together, they have a kick at goal to draw the game and go to extra time. All right, I admit I'm old. I'm on the verge of losing my reason. But at no point in my entire coaching career would a team coached by me have turned down a kick in the final minutes with the option to get a draw in extra time. It was incomprehensible. Now, what I want you to do with all the enormous talent you have in your research department back there in New York, I want you, if you did an analysis of how many times teams kicked for the corner, as opposed to taking 3 points, and got a try, I think it would be less than 50%.
I think it's less than 30%.
All right. And then finally, was it a try? Okay? Now, the French guy, who was sort of at sea for most of the match anyway, now I don't understand how you can get it wrong when you got 6 television cameras, you got 2 assistants, and you got a TMO guy to look at it for you. And he got it wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And the point actually was that it wasn't a try by Ross Byrne. No. But earlier, and he gave a penalty. This is the extraordinary thing. He gave a penalty for a tackle on Van der Flyer. Now, if there was a tackle which created a penalty, it should have been a penalty try. Not a try, a penalty try. Right. But having said that, the best team won.
Definitely.
Indisputably, the best team won.
I got to ask you in 5 words or less, is Leinster winning the URC enough for fans of Leinster?
No.
That's perfect. Final headline. There was another game in France. What did you take away from that, George?
And what a game it was. I mean, the French are playing fabulous rugby. Now, remember, Toulouse came into that game minus 2 of the best backs in Europe, Ramos and Dupont, plus Blair Kinghorn of Scotland. So they went into that game minus 3 outstanding players.
Yeah.
They were suitably beaten by Bordeaux at home, also equally important. But Bordeaux played some wonderful rugby. I think it will be good for the competition for Bordeaux to win it. They're playing smashing rugby. I like the way the French play. There was a wonderful atmosphere in the Bordeaux Stadium. There was wonderful colour, everything. It was pretty special.
Yeah.
Worth watching.
On that note, we're out of time on this segment of
Headlines with Hook.
Thanks, George.
Thank you.
We'll be right back after this.
And action!
We're all Breed Rugby, and John Layfield sucks. And he's from WWE, which is not even a real league.
And what about Crazy Pat Holney, the Chicago Hounds fan?
Did you ever hear of Vince McMahon?
That's me!
You need your cleats? You need them tomorrow? If you order today by 3 p.m. New York time or noon LA time, they can have them to you tomorrow. Young, old, male, female, if you're playing on turf, if you're playing on grass, if you're playing in the rain, you're playing in the heat, they've got you covered. RugbyNow.com. Go there now.
Guys, it's time to make some money, do our jobs. We got to make some picks. Let's start in the URC. John, who do you like in the URC?
Benetton. Take a Benetton at home.
Gift.
Bulls to cover up against Cardiff.
Mike?
I'm going to Edinburgh on the road. I think they bounce back. They're chasing it. They're looking good. Played well against Bath. I think they'll go to Connaught and win and do a job and cover.
All right, I'm going to go to that Irish derby between Munster at home versus Ulster. I think Munster's too many points.
Is there a way for both of them to lose?
I'm going with Ulster. Ulster. No, both of them can't lose. They can tie. All right, let's move on to the MLR on this side of the pond. John, who do you like in the MLR?
Well, hopefully the special kind of stupid person that's scheduling the MLR schedule is not going to have Utah playing a game in the middle of the week next week, and they're actually going to be at home next week and rested. Give me Utah at home, -5.
Gift.
Bounce back game. NOLA covering against Miami at home. Let's go.
Michael.
My boys in New England, Jed Melvin and his crew, they're going to get it done. They're going to cover the 5 and beat Chicago.
You've been riding that Free Jacks wave successfully. Right to the bank, Mike.
100% Jed and his crew.
And I'm taking...
They've been looking good.
I'm going to take LA at home, -11 versus the Anthem. The LA team is much better than their record says. Let's take a break, and we're coming back with the Premiership, Super Rugby, and Picks of the Week after this.
From New York City comes America's longest-running and most popular rugby show. The biggest names in Major League Rugby, MLR highlights, and big match previews. Rugby Wrap-Up presents MLR Weekly, made in New York City. Hey, U.S. fans, you can tune into every match live on Flow Rugby. How do we know that? Because we're on there all the time. All right, we're back in the final stretch. The Premiership. Mike, who do you like?
I'm going to go for the West Country derby between Bristol and Bath. I think Bath will rest people, even though they've got a depth and quality in their squad. I think Bristol are chasing something, and I think Bristol will do a job over Bath, and they'll more than cover.
You talked us into Bristol 2 weeks ago, and they got the kicked out of them, Mike.
Okay, that was 2 weeks ago. Now I've been on fire since then. There you go.
That was your turning point. That was your turning point. John, who do you like?
He has been on fire, and if the Premiership could play just Irish teams, they would all be undefeated forever. Because England is better than Ireland. Fact. Ask your chat GPT, your AI, ask all that stuff, and it'll tell you all the same damn thing. But unfortunately, the English got to play the English. The only people who can beat the English are the English. So the Wells cannot beat anybody.
What is Wells? It's not a well. It's a whale.
That is a fact. That is a fact. Give me Saracens to win.
Wales or Wells? Which
That's
is
what
it?
I said.
Johnny, you don't have any Irish in you?
I
Gift.
think that's a no. That's a no. That's definitely a no.
He's contemplating. Gift.
Yeah, look.
That was 3 looks.
Hey, this is why we got to bring it back through. All right, need you to make sure you're coming back through. Look for Harlequins to be able to cover up against Gloucester.
All right, I'm taking Sale against Leicester. Sale on the road, getting 5.5. Super Rugby. John, who do you like in Super Rugby?
I never watch it. Somebody told me to pick the Brumbies. I don't even know who they are.
And you keep picking them and you keep winning, so you might want to start paying attention. Mike.
I'm going to go for the Reds. I think the Reds will cover the 5.5. They'll beat the Waratahs. So I'm going to Reds.
And Gift.
Yeah, Drew had a great game last week, won, but I think this is where they have their regular letdown game at home versus the Blues. Look for the Blues to cover.
You're picking the Blues. You've
the first time I'm picking against Drew like this.
Long.
Hey, look, you know, whenever you get sabotaged the first time, you kind of just start rolling with it.
All right, Mike.
When he says I'm picking the Blues, you don't have to follow up with the question. You're picking the Blues.
I've had it with you.
Said I'm picking the Blues.
Layfield. My Crusaders in first place, Gift. I'm going to take the Chiefs against the Crusaders as long as Damian McKenzie is back in the lineup for the Chiefs. Finally, picks of the week, Johnny. Who do you like?
Well, Matty, I would like to pick against Ireland, but there's only so many teams that play against Ireland because anybody who plays Ireland beats Ireland. So I'm going to go the over in the LA Anthem game.
Mike.
I'll be going French, as you do, and I'll be taking the away winner this week, which will be La Rochelle, to cover the 4.5 on the road.
Ça va de soi, mon frère. And the birthday boy. Gift. Who do you like?
Look, you very rarely get a struggling country versus a country that's just chomping at the bit to just beat up on people. South Africa is going to be 4 for 4 at home versus the Wales teams. Look at this, 4-0 straight sweep at home for all South African teams versus this struggling Wales life.
Wow.
Let's go South Africa.
Real value right there for the punt.
Bam.
Real value.
Boom.
Real pain in my ass.
Go. Let's
Keep
go.
track of this stuff. Great. Okay. All right. For your birthday, we'll do it. All right. And I'm going to take the over.
What do you mean for your birthday you'll do it? Like you're allowing him to make a great pick?
John's mic has been muted. I'm going to take the over in the Crusaders versus Chiefs match. And on that note, we're out of time. So I want to thank Mr. John Bradshaw, Layfield, the WWE Hall of Fame return rugby advocate, King Gift Egbelu, the birthday boy and inventor of words, Mike Friday, lover of world rugby and 3-time Olympic sevens coach, George Hook, the Irish rugby legend, and thank you for tuning in. Please check out MLR Weekly. It's a great show. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube. Sign up for our weekly newsletter, and please join our American Red Cross blood donor team.